Hi, y'all. It's Miss Larson. Happy Friday. I hope you all are having a lovely morning. Okay, let's go over what we're doing today. So, hopefully, you have already done the do now, which is answering what is the point of doing reflections? Why am I actually having you do a reflection? I don't just make you do things for funsies all the time, okay? When you're done with your purple paper of your do now, put it in your class period's orange bucket. You There's one for each class period. And today we're going to be going over our reflection. Okay. So we've learned a lot this week. We went over lab duties of how to work with your team, how to talk to one another. We learned how to make monkey bread and doing dishes and how we clean the kitchens and how our kitchens are organized. Because remember, they're different than at home. The whole point of doing reflections is to be able to take time to think about what went well and what you're going to do differently next time. Okay. Reflections also help us remember our learning. So if yesterday was a little bit stressful, then hopefully next time it won't be as stressful because we'll be thinking about what can go better. Okay. All right. So we're going to use something called the RACE model. If you've had me before, you've heard this. Okay. Please just listen. So RACE stands for a couple of things. R is restating the question. So you're actually using the question to help put in your reflection. A is answering the question, making sure that we're answering all the parts. So if there's multiple questions within it, answering all of those. C is citing evidence from class, examples. You guys cite evidence from your text often in language arts. You're going to be citing evidence from my class during our labs. And then E is explain or extend. So that means to give more details, connect to another time you've cooked, or you could tell us how this experience will change your thinking or action in the future. Okay. So let's look at an example. My example question is, why are we doing this style of reflection? I chunked R and A together and C and E because it makes more sense just like grammatically when you're writing. So it's a little less confusing. So I'm using part of the question. I said, we are doing this style of reflection. I'm using those exact words right up here. So we are doing this style of reflection because, and now here comes my answer. It helps students fully answer the questions to reflect on their thinking, not because I like to torture you. Now I'm going to give my evidence and explain. So in the past, reflections, students forgot to answer complete questions. And I really want to help support your ELA classes to become better writers and prepare you for high school. So I gave evidence. I gave an example, right, of what happened in the past. And then I further explained it with details by saying I want to prepare you for the future. Okay. Now, on your reflection, this is the first question. It says, what's one thing that worked well during your lab? I did this one. Okay. You don't just copy my answer. You can use some parts of it, but I restated and answered. So one thing that worked well during the lab was, so that's my restate. And then my answer is how students were talking to each other. All right. So now I'm about to give my evidence and explain it. I noticed kids were asking if they could help each other, even if it wasn't their job. Towards the end of class period, some groups were getting stressed about the time, but still speaking kindly and calmly. So that first sentence, I gave an example about how kids were helping each other. And then I further explained it with some extra details about how they were talking to one another. Okay. So on your reflection, I want you to think about, how did your team work together? If it didn't go well, that's okay. Reflect on it so the next time it changes. So how did you talk to each other? How did you help each other? Was there any conflict? You're not getting in trouble if there was conflict. Just, I want you to learn from it. How did managing your time go? So was it a little stressful trying to get the monkey bread in on time? And then did you measure your ingredients accurately? Did you read the recipe and do what it said? Okay. So now I want to show you the reflection. We've got up here. You are going to, let me make it bigger. Write the names of each of your group members. And if they were gone, write absent next to them. I still want their name on it. And then give them a score so that I know. If maybe the runner of your group didn't do anything, then give them a 1 so that I know, okay, I need to check in with that student, because they shouldn't get the 4 that you guys got on your lab if they didn't put in any work, right? So you're going to put their names and give them a score of 1, 2, 3, or 4. So 1 is unhelpful. 2, sometimes they did what they were supposed to do. 3, they consistently did their job. And 4, they did their job and they helped others. Then I want you to rate your monkey bread on how you thought it tasted, okay? Texture and presentation. So if it tasted amazing and you want the recipe, it's a 4, right? Flavor is okay, and I eat it again, a 3, and so on. Texture is how it's feeling, right? And presentation is how it looked, okay? Number 3, how likely are you to make this recipe at home with your family? Why or why not? 4, we went over, right? What's one thing that worked well in our lab? Our focus was actually managing our time and using our lab plan in this recipe. So I want you to think about those things. You don't actually have to include this sentence in your reflection, okay? But what's one thing that worked well during your lab? Number 5, I want you to focus what's another thing that worked well during your lab. Okay, so you're writing about 2 good things. Number 6, what's one thing you wish your group would have done differently and why? So if something didn't go well, that's okay. Tell me about it. Okay. I was not in your kitchens. There are like 30 of you. I don't see everything. I'm not omnipresent. Okay. So tell me about what happened. You're explaining to me. Number 7, who was someone on your job that did an amazing job, or someone on your team who did an amazing job? Tell me what they did. Okay. So this is a chance to brag about someone. And then number 8 is a chance to brag about yourself. So what grade would you give yourself for effort and community skills? So were you doing your job? Were you being helpful? Were you being kind? Were you being accountable, engaged, safe, kind, or the Viking way, right? So tell me about that. You don't have to do anything down here. This is teacher grade. So this is where I'll grade you. But when you guys get this back, you'll see, oh, okay, I actually got a 4 on my writing or whatever. Because if you answered by using parts of the question, complete sentences, and specific examples explaining, you'll get a 4. Okay, so that's how you get a 4. I am letting you guys choose your effort and community skills by typing in number 8. Now, if you give yourself a 4 and you were constantly leaving your kitchen yesterday or not doing your work, and I notice, I'm not going to give you a 4. But if you think you deserve a 4 or a 3 and you fully explain yourself, that is the effort and community skills grade you will get. Okay, the academic grade, I decide. But there you go. So I hope you all have a lovely Friday and weekend. Please do what you're supposed to. Get this done. Put some effort into it and listen. You can listen to music now and get your work done. Put your head down. You got this. Love you. Bye.